should I be systemizing now, or should I wait until I've got a team of, say, 8 kind of thing?
Oh, you should have done it yesterday.
Right.
Look, I think the big, just like that saying, you know, best time to plant an oak tree was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Second best time's today. And I think it's the same thing, right? Like, if you wait till you got 100 guys before you start trying to create systems, there's just going to be more complexity in your business. At the same time, if it's just you know, and you're in your business on your own, you have no employees yet, it might seem redundant to create systems because you're like, well, am I creating these for myself? Like,
well, that's how it could feel, you know.
It will feel that way.
Well, I could manage my guys, like I can see them, I can talk to them then and there, so I could just teach them that way.
And I think the hard part is that's a slippery slope, because when it is just you, technically you don't need systems because you're the only one following them.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's also one of the easiest times to build the systems. And it means that when you take people on, that they can use the systems rather than using you. So when you're adding new staff members, you're actually adding capacity rather than taking away from your own capacity and actually ending up status quo, even though you have more wages and overhead. The big thing is that then you get a couple of guys, you know, like 2, 3 in the field, and it's like you don't really need the systems as much yet. It'd be good to have them, but it's not as crucial because honestly, you're there. You know, you're right there. Like if they're out on site, you might be right there with them. And if they get stuck, you're there, you can help. And it just doesn't feel like you need it that much. You get your first office staff and this starts being a little bit more important in the office, but you might still be like, it's not so important in the field, like whatever. But then suddenly you get like 5 or 6 guys, and at that point you all of a sudden need them right now, but you're also still a little bit too tapped out at that stage in terms of your own time to feel like you can go out and build them, which again I think is false. You can just build them by documenting your life, but it will feel more hectic because at the stage where you have 2 or 3 in the field, you can control everything. When you have 3 to 6 in the field, you can't control everything, but you are still everything to everybody. You know, you're the chief bottle washer, you're doing the pricing, you're doing the invoicing, you're doing bloody everything, you're managing the team, you're managing the projects, like you're taking care of clients, you're doing everything. And so actually you've never been shorter of time.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you get to a point where you might have 8 to 10 on the tools or more. And you start to get a little bit more refinement of roles, maybe in an ops manager or something like that to help you manage the team. You might have an office manager who's helping you out in the office. As you go on, you might get an estimator to help you with pricing. But at this point, there's so much more complexity to the business. There's so many more systems to build. And there's a lot of spinning plates. And at that point, a lot of people desperately need the systems because otherwise you have a whole bunch of people in roles they don't know how to do, and then you feel like you got no time because you spend all day answering the questions that wouldn't be questions if you just had systems. So again, it just gets more and more out of hand. And so I think like where you have more of the resources to create the systems later and more of a reason to, you also don't feel like you have the time to do it. Whereas if you do it earlier, then you technically don't need to do it yet, and you don't have as much resources in terms of a who not how situation. But trust me, it'll be easier now.
Sure. Hey, I hope you liked the video. Check out all the other videos in the channel and like and subscribe.